The importance of an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset is something that is pretty well acknowledged across the self-development space, but I think it's something that is really underappreciated in the world of social change. I want to read a little passage from my first book, The Changemaker in You. Imagine all of the resources in the world are presented as a pie. People with a scarcity mindset are concerned that they won't get a big enough slice of the pie, or if someone else gets more pie, there will be less pie for them. By contrast, people with an abundance mindset realize that there is no limit to the amount of pie available. Someone else's share of the pie won't take away from yours, and we can always bake more pies or explore new pie recipes. A scarcity mindset is a way of viewing the world with a deep sense of fear and insecurity, believing that we are in competition with one another and there will never be enough for everyone. An abundance mindset is a way of viewing the world with a deep sense of worth and security, believing that if we collaborate with one another and share resources and decision-making capabilities, it will open up more creative opportunities and possibilities. Social change requires a shift in our collective consciousness from scarcity to abundance, so we can work together to embrace change, share our knowledge and resources, show compassion to others, think big, and truly recognize that when we work together, we won't miss out on pie. Cultivating an abundance mindset is something that is kind of at the center of the work that I do in the social change space, and encouraging other individuals and organizations to also recognize the importance of abundance. I believe there is a way of conceptualizing abundance in a way that makes it really practical to actually utilize in the work that we're doing across the social change space. And this is perhaps not This is perhaps not thinking about abundance as an excess, but thinking about abundance as enough. And there's a concept that I've come across in some of my work that I absolutely love, and it's this idea of collective enoughness. Essentially, collective enoughness is about recognizing that we only really have scarcity in the world when we act alone. But when we come together, when we collaborate, when we work as a community, we actually have more than enough. A key component of this idea of collective enoughness is that resources are everywhere. Resources are all around us. It's only money and things like money that are tightly controlled. Now, this is something that I'm happy to debate, but I don't think money is a resource, especially in the world of social change. Money has no inherent value. It's the things that money can do that are the resources, or the things that money can buy. That's the resources. However, it is still a tool to get us resources, but what collective enoughness allows us to do is recognize that it's not the only tool to get what we want. And there are kind of three key questions at the core of this idea of collective enoughness. The first question to ask is, what do we really want? Now, in order to kind of answer this question and really kind of drill down to the core of what you want, you need to not be talking about what material things we want, but why we want them. What's the change? What's the impact that these things are actually going to have? Because that's really what we want. We don't want more money. We want something that money is going to allow us to do. And if you keep asking the question of why do we want this, what will this make possible, who will this make this change possible for, we'll really get to the core of what it is that we actually want. The next question to ask is, who else cares about this? Something about living in a capitalist society is that capitalism is market-driven and it's inherently competitive. But when it comes to the world of social change, we need to stop seeing other people or other organizations or other groups who may be competing with us for the same resources as competition and start looking at them as potential collaborators. And it's this idea of coming together and collaborating and collectively sharing resources, collectively sharing our knowledge, collectively sharing skills that can allow us to realize the abundance that exists. The third question is to then ask, what exactly is it that we have when we come together? When we start to take what I call a networked approach to social change, when we start to come together and actually work on the same team and collaborate, then we can begin to find out what it is that we have when we work together. And I think the thing that is beautiful about collaboration in this sense is that often new things, new resources, new ideas, new things emerge that are greater than the things that we could do or the things that we could achieve on our own. And it's, this idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, I think really comes into play when we take this more collective approach to social change and abundance as collective enoughness. And there are already so many great examples of systems that allow us to share resources. There's things like food banks, there is couch surfing, there is tool libraries and regular libraries. All of these things exist already that allow us to share resources, and I think it's very empowering to think that if we continue to come together and work together and really harness this idea of collective enoughness, we can create even more systems for sharing that will allow us to tap into the abundance that exists when we work together. So I hope this kind of gave you a bit of a different way of thinking about this idea of abundance, and particularly why it's important in the social change space. If you guys liked this video, definitely give it a thumbs up so I can make more videos like it. And if you want, you can head to humanitarianchangemakers.net and grab a digital copy of our handbook, The Changemaker in You, for free.